The studio was buzzing with energy, but not the good kind. People rushed from one office to another, their faces tight with pressure. Papers flew, phones rang, and assistants whispered behind closed doors. Something wasn't right. A decision had been made, and it was already breaking hearts. Ana de Armas sat quietly outside the casting room, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Her fingers trembled slightly. She wasn't nervous about the role. She was used to auditions. But this one felt different. It wasn't just another part. It was a film that could change her career forever. And the worst part, she had already been told she wouldn't get it. Not because of her talent, not because of her acting. The words were whispered a few hours earlier, just loud enough to crush her spirit. She doesn't look the part, someone had said. Not the right energy. Ana had smiled politely, pretending not to hear. But inside, something sank. Not fitting a role was one thing. Not being seen as worthy enough to even try. That was something else entirely. She stood when her name was called, slowly walking into the casting room. The directors gave her a tight smile. The producers barely looked up. The room felt cold, like her fate had already been sealed before she spoke a single word. She gave it her all anyway. She poured every ounce of emotion, every tear she could summon, every quiet breath of pain and power. And when she finished, the silence in the room wasn't cold anymore. It was shocked. But even then, no one clapped. No one smiled. One of the producers nodded, polite but distant. "Thank you," he said. "We'll be in touch." Ana walked out, trying not to cry. She felt it in her bones. She wasn't getting the part. And the worst part was, it wasn't about her performance. It was about how they had already decided she didn't belong, in a different building, just a few blocks away. Keanu Reeves sat reading the script for the same film. He had been offered the lead role. The producers wanted him badly. They said it was a perfect match, a deep, emotional story about love, loss, and redemption. He liked the script, but something about the lead actress selection troubled him. He asked for the audition tapes. He didn't want to be rude or step over boundaries, but he had a habit of trusting his gut, and his gut told him something wasn't sitting right with the direction this film was going. When Keanu watched Ana's audition, he leaned forward, not because of her beauty or her name, but because of what she brought into the room. There was something raw in her voice, something that matched perfectly with the pain of the story. He watched the full scene twice, then 3 times. He didn't even check the other auditions. He picked up the phone and called the director directly. "Hi," he said gently. "I just watched Ana's audition." The director cleared his throat. "Yes, she was fine." Keanu paused, choosing his words. "I want to work with her." There was a silence on the other end. "Look, Keanu," the director said, "we've got someone else in mind, more traditional for the role." Keanu didn't raise his voice. He didn't demand. He simply said, "If she's not in, I'm not doing this film." Silence again. But this one was different. Heavy. Uncertain. "Are you sure?" the director finally asked. "Completely," Keanu said. And just like that, everything changed. Word spread fast. Executives whispered behind closed doors. The casting board was reshuffled. And the next morning, Ana got a call she never expected. "They want you," her agent said, her voice breathless. "Keanu asked for you. He stood up for you." Ana sat in her kitchen, stunned. Her hands shook as she held the phone. No one had ever done that for her before. Not like this. She remembered the cold faces in the casting room, the judgment, the polite rejection. And now, this. Not because someone felt sorry for her, but because someone saw her, really saw her. She whispered, "Thank you." But deep down, she knew those words weren't enough. Meanwhile, Keanu didn't ask for praise. He didn't tell anyone what he had done. When asked about the casting change in an interview, he just smiled softly and said, "Sometimes the right person just needs one person to believe in them. And in Anna's case, that one person made all the difference." But the real story was only just beginning. Because the moment filming began, something happened on set. Something that would test their bond, shake their trust, and reveal a truth neither of them expected. The first day of shooting began under a heavy sky. Clouds hung low and the light felt muted, as if the world was holding its breath. People rushed around with cameras, lights, and coffee cups, but there was tension in the air. Anna stood on set, her hands slightly cold. Her costume felt tight, her heart even tighter. Even though she had the role now, not everyone believed she deserved it. She could feel the looks. Some people smiled at her, but it didn't reach their eyes. One assistant even said under her breath, "She only got in because of him." Anna heard it. She didn't respond. She walked to her mark quietly, reminding herself she earned this with her work, not favors. Keanu arrived soon after. He was calm, as always. He greeted everyone kindly, shaking hands, nodding, even helping a grip carry equipment. He spotted Anna and walked over with a warm smile. "You ready?" he asked gently. She nodded. A little nervous. "Good," he said. "Means you care." Anna smiled back, but inside, she still felt unsure. The first scene was emotional, a long, painful goodbye. The camera rolled, lights dimmed, and silence fell. Anna began the scene, her voice soft, trembling with sorrow. Keanu responded with a quiet strength that only deepened the moment. Their chemistry was clear, and everyone on set felt it. Even the director leaned forward, surprised. But just when the final lines came, the most intense part of the scene, someone's phone rang loudly. It wasn't a normal ringtone. It was a loud, silly song that broke the mood instantly. The director shouted, "Cut!" Anna froze, her tears still wet on her cheeks. Someone near the back muttered, "This is a waste of film." Keanu looked around. His eyes landed on the man who had muttered. He didn't yell. He didn't point fingers. Instead, he stepped forward and said, "If we're going to build something beautiful, we have to respect the moment." Everyone went quiet. Even the man who spoke looked down in silence. They tried the scene again. This time, no interruptions. Anna gave it her all. So did Keanu. When the scene ended, the set stayed silent, not from shock, but awe. The director clapped slowly. That was it. But behind the cameras, trouble was growing. A senior producer wasn't happy. He didn't like that Keanu had so much influence. He didn't like that the casting changed because of one actor's request. And he especially didn't like how Anna was now becoming the heart of the film. That night, as the crew packed up, Anna sat in her trailer, going over her lines. There was a soft knock. She opened the door to find Keanu holding 2 mugs of tea. "Peace offering," he said, "for a hard first day." She laughed softly and let him in. They sat in silence for a moment, sipping tea, until she finally asked, "Why did you choose me?" Keanu looked at her for a long second before replying, "Because when you walked into that room, you weren't acting. You were living it, and that's rare." Anna looked down at her cup. "People don't think I fit. They think I'm wrong for this." "Maybe they don't see what I saw," he said. "But they will." Outside the trailer, the senior producer made a phone call. "She's too emotional," he said. "We need someone safer." "What about Keanu?" the voice on the other end asked. "I'll deal with him too," he replied coldly. The next morning, Anna found a new script draft in her trailer. Her scenes were reduced. Her most emotional scene, the one she was most proud of, was cut entirely. She walked straight to the director. "What happened to scene 32?" she asked. The director looked uncomfortable. "We're changing direction a bit, focusing." "More on the male lead," Anna's heart dropped. She walked away, fighting back tears. Behind her, The producer watched from a distance, pleased. Keanu noticed something was wrong when she arrived on set. Her energy was different. Quieter. Almost broken. "What happened?" he asked gently. Anna handed him the script without a word. He read it quickly. Then again, his jaw tightened. He didn't get angry often. But this was sabotage. He walked straight to the director, holding the script in his hand. "This isn't the story we agreed to," he said firmly. "The producers," the director began, but Keanu cut him off. "This scene matters. She matters." Keanu turned and walked off set. Not with a tantrum, not with shouting. Just silent protest. That silence echoed louder than any scream. Within an hour, the scene was restored. The producer tried to push back, but the studio had already seen early footage. They saw what Keanu saw. The bond. The spark. The truth. And they realized something. You can't fake that kind of emotion, and you definitely shouldn't try to silence it. That night, Anna knocked on Keanu's trailer door. He opened it, surprised. She looked at him with grateful eyes. "You walked off for me." He shrugged gently. "I walked off for the story." She smiled. "Thank you." Keanu looked at her, and for a moment, there was nothing between them but deep, silent understanding. But just as things were starting to feel right again, an unexpected letter arrived on Anna's trailer desk the next day. It was from someone she never thought would reach out, someone whose words would change everything once more. Anna stared at the envelope resting on her trailer desk. It was plain, no logo, no studio stamp. Her name was written in careful, neat handwriting. Not typed, handwritten. She hesitated. Her fingers touched the edge of the envelope, and something inside her tightened. It didn't feel like fan mail. It didn't feel like a note from the crew. It felt personal. She opened it slowly. The letter inside was short. "You don't know me, but I saw your audition. I was in the room, sitting in the back. They didn't want me there. I'm just a junior editor. But I've seen 100 faces come and go. And when you finished your scene, I couldn't breathe. You were her. Don't let them take that from you. Not ever." Anna blinked. Her throat tightened. The letter wasn't signed, just the initials, EK. A small, invisible tear rolled down her cheek. One small voice of belief, coming from someone. With no power, somehow felt more real than all the applause in the world. She folded the note and slipped it into her bag. She would keep it, always. Meanwhile, on set, things were shifting. Word of Keanu's stand for Anna had spread, but so had whispers. Some crew members now treated Anna differently, some with quiet respect, others with jealousy. Anna tried to stay focused. She came in early. She worked late. She memorized scenes while walking alone around the empty backlot. Her performances grew stronger with each day, but so did the pressure. Then, one afternoon, everything exploded. The producer, the same one who had cut her scene, approached her just after lunch. His tone was fake sweet. His eyes were sharp. "You're doing well," he said, "but don't get too comfortable." Anna stared at him. "Excuse me?" He leaned in a little. "You've made friends in high places, but friendships don't last. Studios do." She said nothing. Her hands clenched slightly. He smiled and walked off. That evening, Anna sat alone, on a bench outside the studio. The air was cold. The sun was almost gone. She felt heavy, like the world was sitting on her shoulders. Keanu found her there. He didn't say anything at first. He just sat beside her. Finally, she whispered, "Do you ever feel like you don't belong? Like no matter how hard you work, someone will always find a way to say you're not enough?" Keanu looked at her gently. "All the time." She turned to him, surprised. "When I started," he continued, "people told me I wasn't expressive enough, too quiet, too stiff. Someone once said I looked like a man who forgot how to smile, and maybe they were right. But I kept showing up. I kept doing the work. Eventually, someone saw something in me. Anna was quiet for a long time. Then she said softly, "Thank you for seeing something in me." He nodded, offering a small smile. The next few weeks went by fast. Scenes were shot. Emotions were real. Anna and Keanu grew closer, not just as actors, but as people who understood pain and pressure in a way few others could. But just when things seemed to settle, disaster struck. One morning, Keanu arrived late to set. Not like him. His face was pale, his hands shaking slightly. Anna noticed immediately. What happened? Keanu pulled her aside. He had received a letter too. But his wasn't a kind note. It was a threat. Someone had sent a printed message warning him to back off, or this film will never see the light of day. Anna's eyes widened. Who would send that? Someone scared of what this story could become, Keanu said quietly. The director and studio were alerted, but they told Keanu to stay quiet. Don't make it bigger, they said. Just finish the film. Keanu didn't listen. He met with a private investigator, quietly, secretly. He wanted to know who was trying to sabotage the project, or silence him and Anna. Within days, the truth started to emerge. The threat didn't come from a stranger. It came from inside the production. Anna and Keanu stood in the editing room when the investigator revealed the truth. The producer who tried to cut Anna's scenes had been leaking fake stories to media outlets, claiming the production was falling apart, blaming Anna for delays. Why? Anna asked, stunned. The investigator shrugged. Ego. Money. Maybe he wanted someone else for the role. Maybe he just couldn't handle that the story was stronger than him. Keanu looked at Anna. We can't let this stop us, Anna nodded. We won't. But the studio was now nervous. Rumors were spreading. Pressure grew. And then the studio made a shocking decision. They were going to delay the film, maybe even cancel it. Anna felt her knees go weak when she heard. Keanu stayed calm, but deep inside, his heart ached too. And then, something unexpected happened. Anna pulled out the letter from her bag, the one from EK. Maybe, she said, it's time people outside the studio know what this film really means. Keanu looked at the note. Then he smiled. Let's show them. What they did next wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic. It was honest. They posted a single behind-the-scenes clip on Anna's personal account. No makeup, no fancy lighting, just a raw scene between the two of them. One that was never meant to be shared. But it was real, emotional, honest. Within hours, the clip went viral. Millions watched, millions felt, and the comments were overwhelming, I cried. This is what acting should be. She's perfect for this role. And one comment stood out the most. It simply said, I was in the room. I told you, EK. The clip was only 2 minutes long. No music, no cuts, just emotion. Anna stood in a dimly lit hallway in the scene, her eyes full of tears, her voice soft but sharp with pain. Across from her stood Keanu, quiet, listening, holding back something heavy in his chest. It was a moment about loss, about hope, about choosing to fight for someone even when the world says to let go. And it struck people hard. The internet didn't just watch. It felt, by morning, the clip had reached over 10 million views, not because it was promoted, not because of fame, but because it was real. Comments flooded in from around the world. I saw myself in her. This is why stories matter. Whoever said she wasn't right for the role should be fired. Anna sat alone in her trailer, scrolling through the messages. She smiled, then cried, then smiled again. She wasn't used to this kind of love. Not from strangers. Not this deep. Keanu knocked softly and entered without a word. He handed her a coffee. No need to speak. They just sat in silence for a while, letting the moment soak in. But outside that peaceful space, a storm was forming. The studio was furious. Someone from inside had leaked the scene, and they knew it wasn't an accident. The producer who had tried to silence Anna used this moment to make one last attempt to kill the project. He claimed breach of contract, violation of internal policy. He demanded the scene be taken down and asked the legal team to push for action. Against Anna, she's uncontrollable, he said. This kind of behavior puts our investment at risk. But the studio didn't expect what happened next. Keanu posted something too, a single photo. It showed the two of them sitting in costume between takes, laughing like old friends. His caption was only 3 words: "She is everything." That post broke the internet. Within minutes, every major outlet picked up the story. Fans from around the world joined in. Actors, directors, writers, even people who had never worked with Anna began speaking out. Ana de Armas is one of the finest actors of her generation, one famous director wrote. If this film fails, it's because they didn't listen. To her, not the other way around, said another. The studio had no choice. Instead of silencing her, they now had to protect her. The head of the studio called a meeting. One of the most private people in the company, someone who almost never got involved, stepped forward, and in a surprising move, the studio announced the film would continue. Not only that, but they would back it fully. Marketing, promotion, global release. But they also said something else. The producer who had tried to sabotage the project was fired. It was a shocking moment. Anna heard the news while on set. Her hands trembled when the assistant whispered it in her ear. She turned and looked at Keanu across the room. He was mid-scene, but he caught her eye. She nodded. He smiled. The rest of the filming was filled with a different kind of energy. The crew, once unsure, now stood taller. The director became more open, more trusting. The assistants who once whispered behind her back now brought her hot tea between takes, and Anna. She blossomed. Each scene she delivered wasn't just acting. It was truth, pain, healing, and Keanu matched her. Not in competition, but in harmony. Like two people carrying a single candle together through the dark. But not everything was easy. Just before the final week of shooting, Anna received a call from someone she hadn't spoken to in years. Her old drama teacher from Havana, Cuba. His voice cracked with emotion. "You were always different," he said. "They said you were too soft, too quiet. But I saw the fire. And now the world sees it too." Anna closed her eyes, letting his words fill the wounds she didn't know were still open. That night, she stayed on set long after everyone left. She walked the empty hallways of the studio. She touched the cold rails. She stood on the stage in silence. And then she whispered to herself, "I belong here." But in the shadows of success, someone else was watching. A new critic. A loud one. A viral influencer posted a video claiming the entire project was fake. That Keanu only supported Anna because of rumors they were dating, that her rise was staged, not earned. The video reached 1 million views in just hours. Keanu saw it. So did Anna. She sat alone in her trailer. Again. The pain was familiar now. Not sharp like before, but dull and slow, like a shadow that never truly left. She didn't cry. This time, she didn't panic. Instead, she picked up her phone and typed something. "You don't need to believe in me, but one day, you will remember this story. And maybe then, you'll understand what it means to fight for your place." She posted it. No drama, no anger. And again, the world noticed. Fans defended her. Other actors stood by her. And slowly, the noise died down. Keanu visited her that night. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "I don't want to prove people wrong anymore. I just want to tell stories that matter." Keanu smiled. "And you are." Filming wrapped the next day. The final scene was quiet. No special effects, no explosions, just a single conversation between two characters who had lost everything. and still chose to love. Anna stood under soft lights, facing Keanu one last time. The director whispered, "Action," and the world disappeared. It was no longer Anna and Keanu. It was her character. It was his. It was everything they had fought for, now captured forever in a moment of pure truth. When the scene ended, there was no cut, just silence. Then applause. Even the camera crew clapped. Even the sound guy wiped his eyes. Anna looked at Keanu, tears falling. Not because of sadness, but because she knew deep down this was only the beginning. The final days of filming felt like walking through a dream. Anna's phone barely stopped buzzing. Calls from reporters, messages from old friends, interview requests, and offers she never imagined before. She kept it all silent. She didn't want the noise. She just wanted to finish what they had started, quietly, with heart. Keanu was the same. He stayed grounded, like always. He helped crew members pack up boxes, took photos with fans who waited outside the gate, and thanked every person who touched the film, from the lighting crew to the janitors. But deep inside, he felt something shifting. He had made hundreds of films before. Played heroes, fighters, lovers, ghosts. But this one felt different. Maybe because it wasn't just about acting. It was about truth. And Anna, she had become the soul of it. On their last evening together, before the crew would leave and the lights would shut down, Anna and Keanu sat together on the rooftop of the studio. It was quiet up there. The city lights blinked in the distance. The sky was filled with stars, soft and scattered. Anna held her coffee in both hands. "Do you think the film will matter?" she asked. Keanu looked at her. "It already does." She nodded slowly. "But will people really see it? Understand what it meant for me?" Keanu smiled. "Not all of them, but the ones who need it will feel it. And that's enough." A moment of silence followed. Then Anna whispered, "Thank you for standing by me. I don't think I would have made it through without you." Keanu didn't say anything for a second. Then he replied quietly, "You would have made it. You were always enough." She looked at him, her eyes soft, full of quiet gratitude. They didn't need more words that night. But while the two stars shared peace, chaos was rising outside their bubble. Unseen to them, a leaked version of the rough cut had made its way. Online, unfinished scenes, incomplete effects, raw audio. Someone inside the studio had released it without permission, and the reaction was fast and dangerous. Many people praised it, even in its broken form. They said Anna's performance was breathtaking. Others, though, mocked the rough edit. They picked apart small things, made jokes, twisted moments into memes. The studio was furious. They pulled back the release schedule, postponed the marketing, and worse, they began talking about re-editing the film, removing scenes they thought didn't test well. Anna found out the next morning. She stood frozen as her agent explained what was happening. "They're saying the raw leak hurt the brand," her agent said. "They might want to cut the softer scenes, especially yours." Anna couldn't breathe. Everything. She gave every late night, every tear, every fight to be seen. It was being pushed to the side again, like she was a risk. She walked straight to the studio boardroom, uninvited. Keanu was already there. Someone had told him, and he came instantly. Anna stood beside him as the studio executives talked about edits, test audiences, and brand value. She stayed silent, until one executive said something that cut too deep. "We just don't think she carries the film like we hoped." Anna stepped forward. "Then why did you let me?" The room went quiet. "You didn't want me in the beginning," she continued. "You tried to cut my scenes. You tried to silence me, and when people believed in me, you used that belief to sell this project. But now that it's messy, you're ready to erase me again." Keanu put his hand on her shoulder, firm and steady. Anna finished with one sentence. "If you take away the truth from this film, It's no longer a story. It's just noise. The room stayed quiet. Later that evening, Keanu posted a video online. No background music, no polish, just his face and a soft voice. I've worked in this industry for decades, and sometimes I've seen people win not because they were the best, but because they were safe. Ana de Armas is not safe. She's brave, she's real, and she gave everything to this story. If we let fear rewrite what we've made, we lose the very thing we tried to create. The video exploded, actors reposted it, directors joined. Fans marched behind them. Let the Story Breathe began trending worldwide. Under pressure, the studio gave in. They agreed to release the original cut, raw, emotional, unfiltered. Exactly as it was meant to be. And the moment the premiere was confirmed, everything changed. Interview after interview came pouring in. Magazines featured Ana on covers. Talk shows invited her. And yet, she didn't let it go to her head. In every interview, she always said one thing. I almost gave up. And then someone reminded me I didn't have to be loud to be strong. Keanu sat beside her in most of those interviews, smiling gently, letting her shine. On the night of the premiere, Ana stood on the red carpet in a simple dress. No diamonds, no flash, just elegance. Keanu walked beside her, quiet as ever. Reporters asked question after question. But one young girl in the crowd shouted, something that made Ana stop. Thank you for showing girls like me we don't have to change who we are. Ana turned, found the girl, and smiled through tears. The film began. Lights dimmed. People watched. And when it ended, there was silence. Then applause. Not just polite claps, standing ovation. People wiped their eyes. Critics stood with them. Keanu looked at Ana, and this time, he was the one who whispered, you didn't just fit the role, you became it. But as the cameras flashed and hands clapped, one email arrived in Ana's inbox. The sender? Unknown. Subject line, truth has won. More test. She opened it, and her face went pale, because the person behind all the sabotage wasn't done yet. Ana stared at the screen. The email was short. Only 2 lines. Congrats on your big night. But the truth always finds its way out. Check the old footage vault. No name, no sign-off. Just a digital whisper, like a shadow slipping back into darkness. Her heart pounded as she showed Keanu the message. He leaned in, silent, his face unreadable, but his eyes grew serious. What does it mean? She asked. Someone's trying to shake you, he said softly. Or maybe they're trying to help. They didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Ana met with a trusted crew member from post-production. A quiet man named David, who had worked in editing for years and rarely spoke unless necessary. She showed him the email. He sighed, nodded, and took her to a small archive room inside the studio building. A cold, dim place where old drives and footage were kept. They searched together. Box after box. Files with names scribbled in marker, unused clips, alternate takes, backup recordings. And then they found it. A folder buried deep, labeled Scene Test 0.0, internal only. They played the clip. What unfolded on screen was a private recording from the early stages of the film, before Ana was confirmed. In the clip, the original actress, the one chosen before Ana, was rehearsing with a stand-in. Her performance was flat, no emotion. The crew didn't react. One person in the background even walked away mid-scene. But what shocked Ana wasn't that the scene was bad. It was what came next. The producer, the one who was fired, was caught speaking off camera. He didn't know he was being recorded. He said, I don't care if she's better. Ana's not my pick. She reminds me too much of someone I used to know, and that's a problem for me. Ana stepped back from the monitor, her face pale. Keanu stood beside her. He tried to bury you, not because of the role, he said quietly, but because of something personal. Ana didn't say anything. just nodded. Slowly, Keanu asked, "Do you want to release this?" She shook her head. "No. The world already gave me more than I expected. This doesn't need revenge. It needs peace." He smiled at her, proud. Instead of revenge, they did something better. They invited everyone from the crew, every person who worked behind the scenes, no matter their role, to a private screening. No press, no suits, just the people who gave their time, their sweat, their belief. Anna stood at the front of the room before the film played. "This story wasn't mine alone," she said. "It was all of ours. And whatever happens next, I just want you to know, thank you for fighting beside me." Applause followed. Warm, real, pure. When the lights dimmed and the film rolled, something deeper happened in that room. People didn't just watch it. They felt it again. After the final credits faded, people stayed seated. Some cried, some held hands, others smiled through their tears. And when the lights came back on, no one moved right away. That night, something changed for Anna forever. Not because of fame, not because of awards, but because she no longer doubted her place in the world. The next morning, she received a letter, handwritten, the same neat handwriting from before. "You were never supposed to fit. You were meant to lead. EK." She smiled, folded the letter, placed it gently into a box where she kept her most important memories. The film released globally 1 week later. Audiences across countries wept, laughed, stood up in crowded theaters. It became more than a film. It became a symbol of belief, of resilience, of someone who was almost pushed out but chose to stay and rise. And when Anna walked the red carpet for the final press tour, her dress was simple again, her hair loose, her eyes calm. Reporters shouted questions, flashing cameras everywhere. One reporter asked loudly, "Do you have anything to say to the people who said you didn't fit the role?" Anna paused, then smiled softly and said, "Maybe. I didn't fit their idea of the role in, but I fit the story, and the story is what matters." Keanu stood beside her, hands in his pockets, nodding with quiet pride. As they walked into the theater together, another young actress passed them on the red carpet. Nervous, shy, eyes wide, Anna stopped, turned to her. "You'll do great," she said, gently touching her shoulder. "Just be real, and don't let anyone write your story but you." The girl's eyes lit up, and in that small moment, the circle continued. Not just a role won. Not just a movie made, but a legacy born, of kindness, of courage, of choosing to believe in someone when the world doesn't. And of one man, Keanu Reeves, who saw light in a quiet corner and simply refused to let it go out.